Okay, guys, this is the second part of the day, or the week. I'm not gonna be grading this one, so don't get too tense about it. But does have a little bit of interest. What we're talking about here is finding the area of a triangle where we have to use the Pythagorean theorem. And the reason we have to use the Pythagorean theorem is, if you recall, the area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. Okay? And in all of these examples, including the ones that I'm going to ask you to do, we've got either the base or the height. So what we've got to do is find the other piece. So in this case, we're looking for the base. And the way we're going to find this base is we are going to use the Pythagorean theorem, which, if you remember, was a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c was always the longest side and opposite the right angle. So in this case, A is the height, so we've got it. We've got this one. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to come through, and let's say for the base, we're going to find x. Well, it's going to be equal to x squared plus 5 squared, and that's got to be equal to 7 squared. Well, if we take the math out, we've got x squared plus 25 is equal to 49. And we're going to get our variables all on one side. So we're going to subtract 25 minus 25. And we end up with x squared is equal to 24. Okay? Now, to get x, which is what we're looking for, we're going to take the square root of x squared, and we're going to take the square root of 24, same thing, and we end up with x, and the square root of 24 is square root of 24 is 4.9. 4.9. Okay, and that is the first step. We have step 1, and now we know what b is, so we know the height and the base. So our formula for finding the area is equal to 1/2 4.9 times 5, because 5 was our height. 4.9 we calculated to be our base. And when you do the arithmetic there, you end up with a number equal to 12.3. And so the answer to the problem is 12.3. Because that is the area of the triangle. But we had to go through the step of calculating what the base was in order to get where we needed to be. So let's take a look at number 2. We've got the same thing. Our base is equal to x. So we know that x squared plus 5 squared has got to equal 6 squared, okay? Because a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so we end up with x squared plus 25 is equal to 36. We subtract our 25 in order to get everything on the same side. Those go away. And we're left with x squared is equal to 11. Okay. And if we take the square root of x squared and the square root of 11, we get x is equal to 3.3. Okay? And you know that's probably right because 3 squared would be 9 and 4 squared would be 16, so it's going to be somewhere in between them. But now we know what our base is, which is 3.3. Okay? So we just put in our area formula. The area is equal to 1/2 the base, 3.3, times the height, which is 5. And if you do the arithmetic there, you end up with a number equal to 8.3. And that is the answer to our problem because that's the area that we're looking for. Remember what it says up here. Find the area of each triangle. Round intermediate values to the 10th. Use rounded values to calculate the next value. And then round your value to the 10th. We rounded our 3.3 to tenths and our 4.9. So let's take a look down here. And again, what we need is the base. All right, let's write this formula right down here again. 1/2 the base times the height. That's the area of a triangle. Okay, so we got to get a base. Folks, it's the same calculation. X squared plus 8 squared has got to equal 9 squared. And so we have x squared plus 64 is equal to 81. We're going to subtract our 64 from both sides. Okay. And we're left with x squared is equal to 17. Again, we're going to take the square root of x squared, square root of 17. X is equal to, should be pretty close to 4 because 4 squared is 16. And sure enough, it's equal to 4.1. Okay, the last step, area is equal to 1/2 times the base, which we said was 4.1, times the height, which is 8, and that works out to be 16.4. So our solution here is 16.4, just like it was 8.3 up there. Well, the last one is the same thing. We're looking for x. So we know that x squared plus 6 squared is equal to 10 squared. That means x squared plus 36 is equal to 100. We subtract 36 from each side, and we end up with x squared is equal to 64. Again, the same thing we're going to do on both sides is take the square root. Square root of x squared is, because x is x times x is x squared, is equal to x. And the square root of 64 is equal to 8. Okay, now we got all our pieces. And the area is going to be equal to 1/2 times 8 times 6, and 6 times 8 is 48, and if you divide that by half, that's equal to 24. Okay, guys, this is I told you before I didn't know whether this was the last assignment or the next to last. There'll be one more. It'll only be one assignment, not two, and it will be out there on Memorial Day, and that'll be the end of it. So we're getting very close to the end. Guys, I haven't gotten much from you guys. I really need for you to work on some of this stuff. Okay? Thank you.